What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. What's up, everyone? How's it going? And welcome to this Midday Monologue Monday. Do this episode every Monday, as the title implies. We drop a video every day of the week. We actually average about 10 or 11 videos during the course of the entire week, but at least one new video every single day. Why do we do so many videos here at Two Gun Pixie? Because they're fun. They're fun to make, they're fun to edit, they're fun to film, they're fun to talk about the games, the RPGs. It's all fun. So why stop? So please hit that subscribe, because that's how we thrive. Now I want to talk about something serious on the heels of if everything dropped where they're supposed to drop. Should have dropped last week. I still want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons a little bit. But this time might be a little bit of a shock. Because this time, we're stopping Dungeons & Dragons. Now, I can't pretend to say this was an easy decision, but it's time. Now, we're not ending everything completely. After the Brendan Ford adventure for the Speaker of Dreams, I do eventually want to take the team into Against the Giants. And then from there into the Drows, and then, yes, Queen of the Demon Warp Pits. But we've been playing D&D for over, by the time we finish the Brendan Ford, it's going to be a good 2-year run that we've been just deep in the heart of a Greyhawk campaign. Even the side adventure, well, not side adventure, but the side campaign that I did in between the two modules with the evil characters, the Death Lords of Vecna. Even that was still D&D. It was still Greyhawk. It was still the more or less the same thing we were doing. Now, I have a lot of role-playing games. Maybe not as many as I have board games, but I do have a lot of role-playing games, and I really do. I love them all. It's trying to find the time when you're neck deep in a D&D campaign. Trying to find the time to branch out and play something else. I've talked to the group, and they know that I'd really love to do a second edition Mutant Masterminds adventure, like set in the 90s, using that timeline, so I don't have to advance, change, or do anything like that. But also because just I don't know, setting it at the end of the last century, as the millennium turns and everything. It's fitting. I do really like that. But nothing has grabbed me yet, as far as changing up to a Mutant Mastermind adventure for a while. What I mean by that is nothing has come to my mind, other than the fact that yes, I have a desire that I would love to play it again. I love the system. I love the world. I love the characters, the art. Oh, Storn is a fantastic artist. I love Storn. But it's not right. It's not the right time because there's nothing up here. There's nothing up here. I like to run a game when I know what's happening. And if it's a game that I'm going to be running my own homebrewed adventure for, I really need a reason for that adventure. And nothing is coming up. I was thinking of maybe, there's a couple of modules, official, and a few printable adventures for Mutants and Masterminds. But if we're doing a superhero adventure, it's got to be comic book-like, so it's going to have to be serialized. And that's a lot more time, I think, that I want to dedicate to a side campaign. So it's not like we're never going back to D&D. I have the plans. I know what we're doing. But I want to take a break for a few months, maybe 3 or 4 months, delve into another system. And honestly, the way I would want to run a Mutants and Mastermind campaign, or any superhero campaign, Marvel, I would love to run the old Marvel TSR. So I have it. Almost every book for it. I would love to run that set in the 80s, in the Iron Age of comics. But nothing is coming to me for this. And the amount of time that I would want to do it right, I just don't have. So I was talking to the guys about a Call of Cthulhu set in the 1920s, 1930s. We even started working on some characters for that. And I'm not feeling it. I want to do it. I love the campaign setting, especially the D20 version of Cthulhu. And doing that is easy because the gang all knows the D20 rules. But I wasn't feeling it. There's a lot of other little RPGs that I have that I would like to touch upon, but I don't have the taste in my mouth at the moment. Like Ralph Bakshi's Wizards, the RPG. Love that movie. I have some of the few books in the RPG series for that, but I really wouldn't want to delve into it until I got the Montagar and the Scorch source books. So that was a no. I was toying around, and I still may go back to this for something else later. I was toying around with digging out, blowing the dust off of the old TSR Star Frontiers game. Yeah, that is a lot of fun. I like the characters in that. I like the concept of it, that you're potentially exploring parts of the galaxy that are still expanding. You know, that you have this dark threat of a menace. I forgot their names, those worm things, begins with an S, Slars or something. There's always the danger of them showing up, kicking in the door, like the Empire in Star Wars. Star Wars! That is something else. The only reason I'm not running the guy through a Star Wars adventure right now is, much like with the superhero games, I want a lot of time for this. This is a major campaign. Not a side campaign while I'm doing something else like Dungeons & Dragons. No. If I'm doing a Star Wars campaign, I am running the D20 Star Wars, and I'm going to do the Rebel Era campaign book. That is what I'm doing. I mean, I've had some other fun ideas, like running a Sith campaign in a what-if situation, if the Rebels and Luke had failed, and the Empire won, and now they have to deal with the Yuzong Vong. But honestly, nothing would give me as much fun as just running the guys through that side storyline. While the main Star Wars characters are doing everything that we know, or we're familiar with the 3 original movies, this side storyline campaign that your PCs are doing. Oh, it's a lot of fun. But it's too much. Too much. D&D would have to become the small side campaign, and I could never do that to Dungeons & Dragons. So what was I going to do? Well, there was one other game system, and I've talked to the guys about this before, and they seemed interested enough. So recently I sent out some emails, and I got their interest re-peaked. So we are going to be ending Dungeons & Dragons, not permanently. But I'm thinking 4 months, maybe 5. We have to see how the story develops. But what I'm going to do is, we're changing up the system completely. They're not going to be running a D20 system at all. What's going on is we're going D10s. Because I'm introducing them to the world of darkness. White Wolf Publishing Games, specifically the 2nd edition of the World of Darkness, before they ended the storyline between the vampires, the werewolves, the mages, the wraiths, the changelings, the mummies, before they ended all that, which was a great story, even though it really pissed off that Ravanos had to die first and so horribly by the technocracy. But this was my favorite of the vampires. But my favorite of the White Wolf game, regardless of my love in the Ravanos, is the Werewolf Apocalypse game. I absolutely love Werewolf Apocalypse. It is so gut-wrenchingly, visceral and feral, and yet you're still playing good guys. The darkest Iron Age style good guys that you can imagine. So that's what I decided on. So after the Brendan Ford adventure, there is going to be several months where we are delving in to Werewolf the Apocalypse. I'm setting it in the 90s. As dark as the game has everything set up. It's going to be right here in New York City, so that's another thing. Running with the Scepter of the Green out of Central Park as the New York campaign book builds, and then the core book, discusses the entire Scepter of the Green in Central Park. We're all from New York. We all know Central Park. We know the city, the sights, the landmarks. something like that makes mentally getting into a game so much easier, because while I'm describing where they are, they already know it. They already know it. My description of a subway, of the Times Square subway system, is going to pale to anything they have in their memories. So that brings it to life mentally even more. So yeah, we're working on characters. I got 4 in the group right now. So I'm going to run an NPC to fill out the 5th auspice so that they have a full 5 auspice werewolf pack. I'm really looking forward to this. Probably what I'm going to end up doing is running the Valkenburg adventure, because that adventure is set up specifically to form a pack and get a pack totem for the pack and go out on pack missions. It's a bunch, if I remember correctly, it's a bunch of independent short stories that all have an underlining storyline behind them, but all revolving around working for the Valkenburg Corporation, Institute, I think it is, and they specialize in going out and finding lost cubs. Kids, young adults that have gone through their first change and have no idea what they are, why this is happening to them. They've never had any setup in their lives before this. It's going to be fun. And also, the other reason I decided on it is because that is the first adventure in the World of Darkness games that introduces Samuel Haight. Like Haight-Ashbury. Samuel Haight. He is one of the most evil characters ever created. The game system, and the creators admitted this too later on, they definitely OP'd the guy. The guy was way too overpowered by the end of the storyline. He was a kinfolk to the Children of Gaia, which is a werewolf tribe. They're still werewolves. They'll rip your heart out if you get them mad enough, but they're kind of hippies. And he was a kinfolk to them, which means he never got the change. He was just related to the Garou, the werewolves of the Children of Gaia tribe. And he was always bitter about it, always horribly bitter that he never got the change. He didn't get that power of being a werewolf, of knowing what Krynos forms, the hybrid, right? The mutant wolf-man form, the power of that, and commanding spirits. Because the werewolves, if you don't know the game, Werewolf The Apocalypse, the werewolves are very shamanistic, as well as being gut-wrenching, violent machines of rage. They're also very spiritually attuned to the spirit world. So the storyline, eventually he gets a ritual that by stealing the hides of one of each auspice of different tribes of werewolves and skinning them while they're in Krynos form, and making a body suit out of it and doing the ritual, he himself would become a Garou. But that wasn't enough for him. Through the other books, through the vampire books, he learned magical powers. He died, gained powers in the aftermath of the Wraith world, came back. Yeah, they made him too OP. But this is the very first appearance. He's not super uber crazy yet. And I'm not running them through a Camarilla dark vampire game. I'm not running through any vampire games. So a lot of the Samuel Haight story is going to disappear after this, but they will have that first encounter with him. And I think it's going to be really cool, and it's going to be worth it. So yeah, we're saying goodbye. We're saying goodbye to Dungeons & Dragons for a while. But it has nothing to do with the last video that I posted. It has nothing to do with the bullshit antics that every one of these D&D influencers are trying to shove down our throats about being worried about, whether D&D is dying or not. But I already told you I gave you my 2 cents. I gave you my 2 GP on that on the previous video, so go check that out. But for right now, thank you for joining me, everyone. I'm your buddy Big John NG for Two Gun Picture presents Legendary Gaming, and I am out of here.